tonight to the most famous tale of a science-created monster. We present Frankenstein, starring Lon Chaney, with John Newland and Mary Alice Moore.
All right, very well, have your laugh. You asked me to describe my idea of a perfect human being, and I tried.
But Victor, darling, what you described, and you're so serious about it. The perfect human being should be a giant in size, strong as a gorilla, disease-proof, durable, and quick to learn. Oh, it's so impossible.
It is not impossible, and I didn't say should be. I said will be.
Oh, does that word make a difference?
It probably does. You know, even when Victor Frankenstein was a student of mine, he was brilliant. And since then, he's shown amazing talent, originality, daring.
Thank you, Doc.
But above all, he's always said what he meant. Now tell me, Victor, what did you mean when you said will be?
I think medical science is ready to make an artificial human being. And he may as well be better equipped for life than we are, no? Since you find this so amusing, Elizabeth, what's your idea of a perfect man?
You, darling.
I think Victor's cousin is trying to answer that question for you.
Now, there's a perfect man.
Oh, see how he walks.
Well, we must be going, Elizabeth. You've given us a delightful evening, but we have to catch that train back to Geneva.
Please don't rush. Matthew will row you back to the mainland. Will you be coming again soon?
Very soon, darling. We'll let you know. Oh, this old castle. Only you would select such a place in the middle of a lake. What was your reason? To get away from me? You can't, you know.
No, Victor's always liked a quiet place to work.
Is that the reason?
That, and it's picturesque.
And?
Elizabeth, you sound as if you thought Victor was concealing something.
Well, he's buried himself in this remote place. You can't leave it without a rowboat. Might almost be a prison.
Many of these old castles were. Once. Please, darling, finish your brandy.
Oh, my dear. You sound as if you thought Victor was holding someone here for ransom.
Oh, no. But he won't tell us what he's been experimenting with. You said yourself how talented and original Victor is. Perhaps he has been making an artificial man. He's been so preoccupied lately.
Elizabeth. Oh, Victor, I know. She's getting back at you with a little joke of her own.
Why do you think I'm joking, Father?
Because Victor is a good scientist. He knows where to draw the line between what can be done and what is impossible. But come, we must be on our way.
Not sure Victor's talent has any such limits.
Thank you, darling.
What's that?
That's William playing with my recorder. William, please shut it off.
We've been recording our laughter. Why?
I've been recording various emotions for some work I'm doing.
For your artificial man?
No, please, no more of that, my dear. You'll be having me thinking that way, too. And you shouldn't, really, in this 16th century castle. It's too spooky. Come on, let's hurry. I wouldn't want to spend the night here.
I hope you're not that anxious to leave. Are you?
No, of course not. Take care of yourself, darling. You don't look well. I've been worried about you. Good night, William.
Good night.
laughs at the idea of a man being a creator. Well, I have created you. I've made you stronger than 10 men. You're indestructible. And now I shall give you life. Now I shall give you life. Now.
It's dangerous. No. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. No. Not yet. We're not safe yet. Not yet. Come. Enough for one day. Come. We mustn't tire you. We mustn't tire you too quickly. Sit here and rest. Sit. Rest. You must stay secured here for a few days. There's a great deal for you to learn. The world mustn't see you. Not yet. I'll come back and we'll teach everything you need to know. Everything. Now.
they were saying at dinner. Do you think Miss Elizabeth guessed right?
Of course not.
Dr. Frankenstein's a very clever man.
He's not as clever as all that. No one is.
But he's got something locked in that room.
His research equipment. It's very valuable.
But who's to steal it? No one can get to the island without the rowboat, and there's only one boat on the lake. Whatever he's got in that room, it's not just equipment.
See here, Elise, you're not to be nervous or upset. Miss Elizabeth is just a hysterical young woman.
Oh, so you think women are hysterical?
Now, I didn't mean you. You know how smart I think you are.
Oh, you're just saying that to get around me. You think all women have no sense.
It isn't so. Why, how would I get along without you?
That's the new men.
I do. Now, what good would I be alone?
Now, stop your nonsense. We have work to do. Let's get our chair back where it belongs. Get your chair.
Easy now.
It's heavy.
Who are you? What are you?
Hey, all right, got it.
Whatever it was, we couldn't get away. We go to the mainland to get help and hunt it down. Everything's going to be all right. Dr. Frankenstein! Dr. Frankenstein! It's William!
William, what happened? What happened to him, Matthew? What is it, William?
He's ugly. He's ugly. He's ugly.
monster. What did I do wrong? What did I overlook? I'm completely responsible, Matthew. Once I swore that I would practice medicine for the good of humanity. I created a being with no thought of what would become of him. No thought of the danger involved. No thought of a tragedy like this. This could all have been prevented. It could have been prevented. I should never have started this. I should never have started it. And now I'll get rid of it. What are you doing? Burn this smoking stuff, my notes, everything. It'll never happen again. It'll never happen again.
There are some things that are better left undone.
He must be destroyed.
Let me go to the main.
No, there's no time for that. We must do it ourselves.
Master William.
William. He's alone in his room upstairs. Quickly. Match. My gun. Matthew! Don't struggle! Don't struggle! He'll crush you! Don't fight! Matthew, don't fight! It's I who you'd really like to kill. Matthew, don't fight him. Wait. It's I whom you hate. I whom you hate. Whom you'd like to kill. Matthew, when you shoot, aim for his chest, Matthew. Aim for his chest. If they didn't, the fault of the water did.
There is sight?
200 feet down to that water.
Any sight of it?
No. No, just the water. He's dead now. It's certain that he's at the bottom of the lake. A broken neck. Oh, thank God. This doesn't bring you back Elise, does it? No.
I heard shooting!
Come in here. You mustn't come in here.
They're pounding at the main entrance!
Yes, Matthew, see who that is. Now, it's all right. It's all right now.
Sir, the doctor.
William, please go let them in.
What will you tell them?
I should tell them the whole story. It doesn't make any difference now. It's all over and done.
It's all over. All over now.
I made Father bring me back. I've been so terribly worried about you. We talked of nothing but you all the way here. I had a feeling that something was wrong, that you were in danger.
It's over now, Elizabeth.
What is, darling?
I must tell you. I only pray that you'll understand. Do you remember the last time you were here, we talked of my work? Of an artificial man, if it could be done, what it would be like?
Yes?
Well, it was not idle talk, Elizabeth. I created a living, breathing creature.
You created?
Yes. Yes, now you must believe me. I was thinking only of the scientific achievement, of the immensity of it. I was thinking only of the power of creation. Somewhere something went wrong. Something went wrong. Elizabeth, I created a monster.
Victor.
Tonight he tried to kill William, and he did kill Elise. Thank God the danger's past now. He's dead at the bottom of the lake. But I had to tell you.
I'm glad you did.
Matthew just told me. What a terrible experience.
It's past now, Father. Let's not talk about it anymore.
But, Victor, the things you must have learned.
I shall never want to speak of it again.
Nonsense. This could be the greatest contribution to science and history. You've no right to keep it to
I had
yourself.
no right to start it.
But the experiment could be tried again, surely. No! So he's dead. He's at the bottom of the lake.
Frankenstein! Dr. Frankenstein! He's back! I saw him!
You're insane. He's dead at the bottom of the lake.
True. He must have fallen on a ledge and climbed in another window.
What is it?
It's impossible. He's come back. Where are your guns? Where are your guns?
Bullets won't stop him. I've done my work too well.
Bullets won't stop
We
him.
have know the power and danger of this thing. It's evil and vicious. Now its only thought is to kill. There's only one thing we can do now. Electricity gave him life. Perhaps it will take it away again. William, you have to help us, will you?
Yes, Victor.
You must be very brave. You and Elizabeth must try to lure him to my laboratory.
But Victor, this small boy.
The monster has the mind of a child. It's direct and very slow. Now, you must be very brave. He must not know we're trying to trick him. Now, listen, you play or sing or do whatever you like, but he must not know we're trying to trick him. Your father and that time will meet in the laboratory. Make your way there. I won't have it. There's nothing else to do. If we don't destroy him, we'll all be killed anyway.
Victor's right, Mother. We've got to do it. Are you ready, William?
Give us just a few moments. And God bless you. Quickly.
Are you scared, William? Well, so am I. But let's not let on, shall we? All right.
This. Open-faced club sandwich. Burger.
For the love of heaven, stay back.
Burger.
I knew this scheme of yours wouldn't work.
We'll give them one more minute.
I'm going down.
No, I won't. I've got a score to back with him.
Victor, he's right behind us. Oh,
Careful,
darling, what are you
careful.
doing?
I shot him, but he keeps coming, he keeps coming.
Here, hide. There. Stay.
Burger. Open-faced club sandwich. This is DMN.
This is the Kremlin, citadel of Russian communism. Looking at Russia, we might see it as a country to be studied, as we study other nations of the world. Yet we know that Russia today is regarded as a grave threat to our nation, to our freedom, to the peace of the world. Why so? What makes it a threat? Looking closer, we see a clue. Public display of giant portraits of communist leaders. These leaders, by their actions, have caused the world to stand guard. Here, in Russia, you see the reason why so many nations are building up their defenses. Here, in Russia, you see the reason why we are spending billions of dollars in defense production, why your family is paying the highest taxes in our history. The leaders of Russia tell us their only concern is the defense of their own nation. Is this so? Or are they ambitious for world conquest? Question. A question of communism. Ever hear of Karl Marx? In his mind, communism was born more than 100 years ago. He looked at the world and saw men as divided into two classes, workers and capitalists. In the Communist Manifesto, he called upon the workers, the proletarians, to rise up and overthrow their capitalistic masters. He cried, "The proletarians have nothing to lose but their chains. They have a world to win. Working men of all countries, unite." This was the promise and the challenge of communism. In Russia, the Tsar was the government. To support the wealthy aristocracy, millions of peasants toiled in virtual slavery. The Cossacks, dreaded police of the Tsar, enforced tyrannical laws. Here was fertile ground for the ideas of communism. For here, indeed, the people had nothing to lose but their chains. The chains of the imperial government. In 1914, the Tsar sent his troops into the war that swept Europe. For more than 2 years they fought. While at home, people suffered shortages, brought about despotism and corruption of the imperial government.
Open-faced club sandwich.
The people grew rebellious. Only a strong army could sustain the Tsar in power. But revolution was preached on the battlefield, too, to an army broken with corruption. Inevitably, the Russian army surrendered. And with the defeated army returning under the banners of revolution, the imperial government fell and revolution reigned. The chains were broken, and in violence was born the government of the proletarians. But a government needs leaders. Ever hear of Nikolai Lenin? He was the first leader of communist Russia.
No! No!
Leon Trotsky was another.
No!
Lenin lived but a few years, and out of the vicious struggle for power that followed his death, Joseph Stalin emerged as undisputed leader. Here was a new face, but in the background was an old one, Karl Marx. He established the ultimate aim of communism as world revolution. And the rulers of communist Russia, while firmly establishing their authority at home, created an international organization to stir up revolution throughout the world. Communism was on the march. Stalin was in the Kremlin. But what of the people? The proletarians who had fought to win a new world. Their new world might look promising. But although the land had been taken away from the capitalists, the workers didn't get it. Under communism, virtually everything belongs to the state. The individual has little right to own property or to plan his own life. He's told where to work with his employer. Little freedom to leave his job or seek a better one. Whereas we believe, and our religions teach, that the individual is all important, communism denies religion and debases the individual to a part of the vast machine that powers the state. Children are taken early and molded to fit the machine. Here is no search for truth, The government writes the textbooks, and the children are taught to accept communism and their fate without question. The Kremlin runs all elections, and the outcome is always the same. If anyone dares to disagree, he's given a speedy trial without benefit of jury. Such traitors may be immediately executed or sent off to prison. The proletarians have nothing to but their chains. They have a world to win. Although the people of Russia gained little, the rulers gained mightily in power. They built up a giant war machine, looking forward to the day when their flag would fly over the entire world. Then came the rise of Nazi Germany, another power bent on world conquest. The two nations joined forces, and Russia, believing itself safe from aggression, launched an invasion of Finland and other neighboring nations. For the first time, the world learned that the communists were no longer waiting for world revolution, but were now resorting to outright military aggression to extend their power. After the Nazis turned on their former allies, we supplied Russia with immense quantities of military equipment to wage war against our common foe. And how did Russia come out of the war?
Club Sandwich.
In 1917, at the time of the revolution, Russia was already a land of vast area. Soon after the end of World War II, Russia had occupied many new territories, bringing additional millions of people under communist control, and serving notice that Soviet Russia was now a world power to be reckoned with. United with Russia in war, we strove to preserve that unity in peace. We helped organize the United Nations, in which the nations of the world have mutually pledged to cooperate in fostering world peace and progress. Andrei Gromyko signed for Russia. But in the first post-war Italian elections, the communists created disorder in an attempt to gain control of the government. Once more, the world was reminded that basic in the idea of communism is the plan of world revolution, and that Russian communism has stepped beyond that plan to achieve world domination through aggression. In Indochina and Malaya, communist aggression has incited rebellion against established government. In France, communist aggression has fomented strikes against essential industries in attempts to discredit the free government. In Iran, the communists have incited rioting and have preached hatred and distrust of the Western nations. In Eastern Germany, they have openly opposed the West. In China, the communists have established their own puppet government. In Korea, communist aggression has come into actual combat with forces of the United Nations. And with the most deadly of all weapons available to the Russians, no peoples in the world can feel secure against this aggression. How are we meeting this challenge? Yes, one way is by helping the free world fight starvation and poverty and suffering, conditions that pave the way for communist infiltration. We are also supplying equipment for the free nations to develop their own resources and raise their living standards. Another way we are meeting the challenge is by military alliance with some of the other free nations for mutual aid in opposing direct communist aggression. And we are building up our own military defense. But do these preparations mean that we have abandoned hope for peace? No. In the United Nations, we are continually seeking a workable plan for living in peace with communist Russia. No! Because we want peace. But we do not want this. We believe in freedom. Freedom, born of the conviction that every person is a child of God and is therefore of supreme worth. For these people, For ourselves.
Open-faced.
For everyone. We want freedom, not tyranny.
No! No! No!
This is DMN.
Flavor! Baseball brought to you by the makers of Lucky Strike, the cigarette that's made better to taste better.
Be happy, go lucky, strike today. Oh, say,